Good morning, and today we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to do Informatics 1 or programming in general. So, first of all, if you're going to program, if you're going to be a programmer, you're basically a treasure hunter, okay? So, it's not amazing as this, it's not going to look like this, but instead it's going to be a bit more like this. So, think about it. You don't have these random islands like the pirates did, you have Google, and you don't need to find the treasure chest, but instead you need to find the answers to your bug, to your problem, to your new solution, or anything else. And today we also have these generative AIs, right? But always think about Google is still really, really useful. And I think most times even better. Maybe in the beginning you don't really notice it because you're playing with toy problems. But as soon as you have like really advanced problems, and especially if you have bigger programs and you need more context, then the AI as of today it's good, but it's not quite there yet that it can really replace Google. So always think about Google first and then AI maybe. And yeah, try to find out how it works. So really the point here is do not rely on the large language models such as ChatGPT, because this is how it goes sometimes. You ask for something and they're going to give you an answer, and then you see or you try that and it doesn't work. Then you ask again and they're just going to give you the same answer over and over and over. And you can tell the model that, yeah, this is not right. And it's just like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. Here you have the same answer for the fourth time. And then you're just gonna, yeah, I think it's better if you Google sometimes. So if you're going to use these LLMs, I highly recommend check out some videos about the prompt engineering. So there's a lot of things that you can do by creating a good prompt, and often the IDEs and stuff, they also let you basically integrate this and have prompt files that are going to make your replies better. But yeah, check this out and try to play around with it. And then always learn about the limitations that the AI has basically. So not only from experience, but also do some research on what AI can do and what it can't do. And I think it's really important, especially today, if you're going to use it, think about where you can use it and where you should probably do something else. And then always think about this. You can prompt for sources. So you can always ask, for example, ChatGPT, you can say, give me an idea for this, give me an idea for that, find me this, find me that. And then you can always say, give me a link to the documentation, for example, and then it's going to give you some random HTTP link, some URL. And then if you're going to use that link, I think they now have also a warning. It's on your own risk, right? I would still advise you to Google it yourself. But if you have the link, you can already find out where you need to search for it. And if you're going to use the links provided by the AI, always know that it's not always up to date. So the large language models, they're usually trained at some point in time, so they don't have the most recent information, right? And sometimes they also don't have the most recent links, and sometimes these links don't work. So prompt for the sources and then check out the sources and yeah, try to check if it's actually correct. And this, I think this is really the most important. Always check what this AI is giving you. If it's some really trivial stuff, then you can just try it out, and if it works, it works. But always, if it's something bigger, always check if it's actually true. And then there's something like a 3-to-1 rule. I don't think there's something official, but basically the idea is spend 3 parts on thinking about the problem yourself, and then spend 2 parts Googling first about it or talking with someone, and then spend one part on using the AI. So this rule really depends. It's not always applicable. If you're going to industry and you just want to do fast development, maybe AI is better. But I think this is really good, especially if you're learning in university. Think about it yourself, then try to Google it and talk about it with others, and then use the AI. And what's that gonna do? It's gonna hold off this urge to always ask the AI first, because if you do this, there's articles on this that you're not gonna learn as much in most times. I think you can still use it in a way that you can learn a lot, but most times you're just gonna miss a lot of things that you could otherwise learn. Then a small note on how to Python. But this is not going to be a full tutorial because this you have in the lecture. But just some advice, use the resources that you have. Use the documentation for sure. And I think this is important because you not only learn things about Python, but you also learn how to use the documentation. Documentations, they always differ a bit, but in the end, they're all quite similar. So they have a structure, you need to search for it, learn how to use it, and really also learn how to read it. Because in the beginning, it's quite hard to understand sometimes, and then think about what is important, what do I need to know, what can I skip, and so on. And Python is a dynamic language, so you basically don't have types for your variables. If you don't know what types are, just Google it quickly. You should have an explanation in 1 minute. And the thing is, Python allows you to do type hints since I think 3.5 or something like that. And try it out. I think it's awesome. Some people say you shouldn't do it because it's against Python and so on. Yeah, try it out, see if you like it. I think it's awesome. But yeah, decide for yourself. And the resource that you have, there's really a lot of it. I think the most important for you is going to be Python Tutor. It's an online website, and there you can basically give in small code snippets, and then you can go through the code, see exactly what is happening. And this is really amazing. If you don't know how programming languages work, don't know how the computer handles it, this is basically going to give you the entry points on how this all works and give you an understanding. And then you have the exercises from the lecture. Always do these exercises, take them seriously, invest a lot of time in it. I think they're great. They take a lot of effort in doing these exercises and making them good. And I think it's also going to mention this in the lecture. If you do the exercise well, you're going to do probably better in the exam. Not guaranteed, but there's some correlation there. Then students are a resource in the end. You have your fellow students. You can not only party with them, you can also talk with them about your programming and so on. And maybe try to program some small things together, right? Doesn't have to be like as a team, but you can just sit together in front of one computer and then think about how can we program this? What can we do? Do you have another idea? How can we do this better? Let's both write the same program and compare it. I think this would be really interesting. Do your exercise and then just see if it goes. And then when you solved it, go together with another student and then check out, oh, what do we do it differently? Why did I do it this way? Why did you do it that way? And this is going to give you a lot of more perspective. And this is really important if you're going to be a software engineer one day. Then you have a lot of online resources. So if the exercises are not enough for you, then you can still go on and do a lot of Python exercises that are online. But there's also other courses online. I think there's computer science from Stanford University. There's like a free course, and I think it's also with Python. Not quite sure. But for the base concepts, you can learn a lot there. But yeah, if you need extra help, online resources, they're the way to go. There's a lot of it. And then you have the IDE and the CLI. Basically, learn how to use both. So you can either only use one, only use the other, but there's always certain parts which you can do better in one of the two. So always think about when should I use which one is going to be better, which one do I prefer more, and yeah, the IDE usually also has a CLI, so you can combine the two. And maybe quick note on online resources, also check out like the most important things for developers that you have. For example, you have GitHub, there's a lot of threads, there are people discussing things. Then you have Stack Overflow and you have other sites. Just try to find these sites. You can also just quickly Google most important websites for software engineers, and you're going to find a lot of resources, but try to find the ones that are really important, especially, for example, now for Python. And then, yeah, use them. Please use them. And one thing that would like to give you on the way, the base is basically the most important thing. So don't only think about this as your program course to learn Python, but think about it as the fundament for your future studies, right? So if you're gonna start with Python and really get it, the fundamentals, you get them in right and good, then you can build a house on top of it, right? And it's gonna last for a long time. And the problem is if you now don't have this solid foundation, everything you're gonna build on top of it, it's gonna be shaky. And as soon as you're then, at some point, you're going to try to build a bit higher, and it's all going to crumble down, and then you have to build it up from the ground on because you don't understand the basics. And if you don't understand the basics, it's really hard to understand these broad concepts. Maybe you say you understand it and you know how to use it, but really understanding how it works and then being able to verify it yourself is I think a different level of understanding. And so what I would advise you, always ask the questions, always ask questions. Think about, why does it do this? Why does it work? Why doesn't it work? How can I do it differently? And not only ask the questions, but also search for the answers. As software engineers, we are, I'd say, proud that we are the researcher of questions. So if you have a question, we're going to find this answer. As we said before, we are treasure hunters, right? So really find these answers. It's important. And don't just go, oh yeah, I have a question, I'm going to ask someone else, or I'm going to ask AI. No, think about it first. Google, use the threads, use everything. Be curious and be curious for the answers. And yeah, if you do this, I think you should be good, and try it out and see where you can go.